welcome everyone and happy Friday night to Word is Assembled / Rainy Nights. I am your host, Rainy Rider. I have with me the Juice, AZDZ
What up?
Adventures, and the Mad Yankee. Tonight's topic is bikers do it better. So what actually is it? Well, I guess we're gonna go and find out. So Juice, what is it?
I have a lot of thoughts on this matter. We may want to skip me. Maybe we don't start off with my load of thoughts.
I'm okay with giving you 4 or 5 times to go. What do you got?
Okay, first one. Bikers make financial decisions better than anybody else.
I totally disagree, but go ahead.
It's also a two-sided coin. So they make good, bad financial decisions. So that's my first one. Also, hi, Steve.
Okay. Expound on that.
Oh, you want me to expound on that?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody
Oh,
has music, right?
If you
Or that's
turn
just
on-
me.
it's the YouTube probably if you have the YouTube open maybe. Yeah, I mean, I think spending money on bikes and bike parts, while not a good financial decision if you're maybe a stockbroker, I think the assets depreciate pretty drastically. The value here, big value there. So we spend our money on things, I think, a little bit better because we get more real world use out of things. You find life through some of our purchases. I think that's really what I meant by that.
Yeah. I totally agree. I was just giving you a hard time. Yeah, definitely, when you get into the bike lifestyle and you start riding bikes every day and using them as one of your main transportations, you save gas, you save money, you save, getting a brand, no matter what you get, a brand new top of the line motorcycle, you might spend $25,000-$30,000, whereas on a brand new top of the line car, you're going to spend $70,000, $80,000, to get the same performance and the same creature comforts and obviously not the same weather protection. But even there, we seem to be a lot smarter than some people. It astounds me, like just to go to work, people jump out of their cars and they run inside because they're freezing to death. And then I get inside and people are like, "Aren't you cold?" And I'm like, "No, I dress for the weather because you have to." So I'm as warm when I get on the bike as I'm going to be the rest of my trip. And people will run, 30-degree weather, go throw on a sweater and their flip flops and run to the car, be cold all the way to work, get out of the car at work, and they're still not really warm yet, and they run inside, but they never really got dressed for the weather. Where we kind of have to, because you're going to be on the bike the whole time. So we're a lot smarter in a lot of things, I think. But definitely financial decision, absolutely.
We're not biased at all, but we definitely think that we do it better.
We just think we're better than you. That's all. I mean, all right. Let's start with the DZ to the AZ since he's right there on the next. What's your it?
Getting out and enjoying life for the most part.
You stole my it.
You do it better. Oh, I get you. I see where you are coming from. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I know a lot of people that don't ride and whatnot, that just sit around at home and do nothing. Most of them just sit around and drink by themselves too.
We drink with each other.
Bikers also do that.
We do that during the winter, us northern bikers, but
make bad decisions with friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's always more fun with friends. There's more stories to tell.
True
Exactly.
story. True story.
especially if you're the one to stay sober.
Yeah, I was like I said, I was just looking over our Ohio videos last night, and we had a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's good. It's good that somebody always has a camera. That's a good thing. But yeah, we absolutely enjoy each other's company 100%. What do you think about that, Steve?
What's the it? I forget the prompt for this particular session.
Bikers do it better.
Well, I think that we're forced to pay attention a lot more and to be, this might sound weird, but we're forced to be in the moment
Yes.
much more often than your average person, right? Your average person's in the car, driving, thinking about a million other things. It's like when you go out to the range and you're shooting, you're not thinking about everything else. You're thinking about your shots. When you're writing, for me at least, I mean, there are people I'm sure who tour and they're thinking about all kinds of things. But if I'm just riding around town or in the mountains, or I'm paying attention to anything that can go wrong. So the ability to be present in the moment is it's a skill that's actually kind of difficult to achieve. And I find myself like that translates pretty well into a lot of other places in my life, to understand that, okay, well, yeah, this is I have to think about that, and this is going to go on, or this happened, I can think about that, but for right now I need to be present. It's called mindfulness, and there's apps that people try to do it and stay in the moment and think about your breath, and it's like a whole thing. But I can't think about anything else when I'm up in the mountains. There's no other space in my head for anything else.
Totally agree.
I wonder if the people that do yoga, like the yogi instructors, would agree with you on the assessment that the motorcyclists do mindfulness better than them. It's actually, I legitimately think, like, I mean, I don't know that I've done real yoga, but I've done mindfulness exercises. But like what you're describing through motorcycles, obviously, again, we're a little biased, but it's like to a whole other level, because I mean, yoga or mindful kind of meditation, you're just kind of sitting there in one space typically. But being on a motorcycle, you're still like a part of your environment, and you're moving through different scenarios in the same time, and it still works. You're still kind of on a one track mind of like, I just got to stay alive, but I'm having a great time.
Yeah, and it so to be in control of your breath and to think about your breath in and out, because I've done mindfulness exercise, and I've gone to surf resorts and stuff because I surf. They have yoga, so we would do some yoga, I guess, in the morning between surfs. And you're focusing on your yoga, and you're doing your stretching, and you're focusing on that. It's active thought. And okay, you're right here, but you're also planning, okay, what are my escape routes? All right, okay, I'm coming to an intersection. What do I see left and right? I mean, it actually has made me a better driver, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically knowing all the things that can go wrong and to mitigate your risk as much as possible. I mean, you can't change it altogether, but or you can't eliminate it altogether, but there's just no room for other thought. So I think that's an important skill to be able to have, and then to understand, if you want to go to the next level, to understand what your limits are, what you can and can't do, and have the ability to push yourself without being reckless, and to do something without being stupid about it. Like, everybody needs to take risks in life. Like, everybody. I do, you guys do, everybody does. But it needs to be calculated risks, and you need to be thinking, it's not like, all right, well, I've got an open highway, I might as well gun it and grab a handful. But if you can do it, great. It might not end up the way you want.
yoga, I can see yoga being a very parallel to riding a motorcycle. Because if you think about, when you go into yoga and meditation, what do they always say? They're like, imagine yourself on a road, wind whipping through your hair, trees passing you by. A skunk stops in the middle of the highway, lets out a rancid fart. You roll right through it. It's a lot of the same things. So
Well, what's crazy is actually like there's also apps that tell you like stories to help you sleep.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've used them,
Oh yeah.
but it prevents other thoughts from it coming in because this person's telling you a weird ass boring story. But
I've listened to sidebar. I've listened to Cillian Murphy talk about a train ride through Ireland like 30 times. I dealt with some serious anxiety for a bit. I had sleep troubles, but like that man's voice, oh boy.
What was the app that you used?
That was through Calm. I paid for Calm for a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
because I
highly
would
recommend. Yeah, like
yeah.
I
tried a few of
started.
them.
I was gonna say I started with like the thunderstorm noises. Those will work, but like sometimes when you find a really good narrator of a story, and it doesn't really particularly matter what they're saying. I mean, it kind of generally does, but like for whatever reason, train rides, and then like there's a few other like common themes for those storytelling ones, but right to sleep.
Yeah. I like the ones that actually give you instructions.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're thinking about relaxing, you're scanning head to toe, and you're like, okay, now think about your forehead or any muscles, and then you get to your like jaw, and you realize, oh, I am clenching my jaw pretty hard. And so I like the instruction, but again, it's like being aware of everything that you're doing. Again, I tend to be a little bit more conservative on the bike than maybe some people, but I'm also the person that gets all the emails of what happens when you go down. And I get the photos, and I get the, hey, thanks for saving my foot emails. I get a lot of those. So I'm a little bit more probably calmer than you guys on a bike and just taking it at my pace. I don't give a fuck about what anybody else is doing.
Oh yeah, I do too. I mean, it's funny. What's the duality? You've always heard the duality of man. We're violent, but we're peaceful, and blah blah. Motorcycle riding, it calms you down, but at the same time, it hypes up your external thought. Like Steve was saying, it turns up. You have to turn up your situational awareness, or you end up dead. You can calm yourself down, but at the same time, you stay alert enough to keep your auxiliaries functioning to keep yourself out of trouble. And it's a really weird thing. You ride in the city, you be riding in the city for an hour and it tires you out. You be riding for 3 hours in the countryside or on a highway that's deserted, you feel fine. You're ready to get off and box a bear. So it's two different sides of the same coin, but they get you to the same place. I know people who can't sleep. We all heard the stories. People, you get up in the middle of the night, go out, take a ride, come home, fall right asleep because it puts your mind where it needs to be. And you were talking about rainfall. The rainstorm, doesn't calm some people down. It doesn't help to get them tranquil. But the same person can listen to the babbling brook or can listen to the wind noises. You just got to find something that's on your frequency level. And I think with motorcycle people, that's our frequency level. That's what, that's why some people get on a motorcycle, hate it, they'll park it up and then never get on it again. That's the people that have a Harley and they'll put 300 miles on it in a year. Whereas you got other people who get on a motorcycle and it reverberates in your soul so well, you're going to put 10,000 miles on that bike that year. No question about it, because you become one with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yankee, what do you think about all this? Oh, Steve, go ahead.
Or you own a company and you have to work 14 hours a day and you don't have time to put 10,000 miles. So don't talk down about the guys who don't ride 10,000 miles a year.
None of us doubt that you work harder than us, Steve. We've seen you. We've seen it. And I see even more of it. I've seen the emails. I've seen the other side of the emails. It's like it's a busy thing. But even then, you can't deny it. The bike sometimes. If it wasn't sometimes for the bike, by the time I got home from work, I'd still want to kick a badger, just because I'm just so angry at the world. But that 30-minute ride home on the bike, I get home and I'm peaceful. I'm tranquil. I'm ready to sit down and relax.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I actually have to force myself, and like, if you don't do this now, something's going to come up, and it's not going to happen. And so I actually have to force myself. Okay, you're going to take an hour and you're going to go ride, because if you don't, you're just going to get sucked into work. And that's it. So if you're serious about it, like, and you've got a hectic lifestyle or you've got a lot on your plate, sometimes you have to carve out time.
Just like working out, you can make all the excuses you want to, and you don't want to do it, but as soon as you do it, you're like, I should have did that earlier. Why did I do this?
Agreed.
Yankee, what do you think about all this?
Well, obviously there's a lot of different ways you can approach this question, but the thought that keeps popping into my head is that, I mean, the obvious is that it is whatever you imagine it to be, whatever you want it to be. But whatever it is, bikers do it better because the bike makes it better. That has kind of always been my experience with that. And you can take that as any sort of thing. I mean, the obvious answer there is traveling. I mean, I don't got nothing against you if you do road trips in a car or a truck. I've done plenty of them myself, but there's not really any comparison in my brain to doing it on a motorcycle. You experience it in a much more visceral fashion. You experience wherever you are in a way that, is going to be, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but in my view, it'd be very difficult to accomplish from inside a four-wheeled bubble. But it goes beyond that. It can be maintenance, maintaining that machine. I personally, I mean, my wrenching ability is very little, but what little I have done on the bike, I feel much more accomplished with it because I'm more connected to it, but also very hard to define. But a motorcycle, to me, being a much simpler mechanism and a much simpler machine than a car, you feel like each one of those little jobs you do is so much more important. Now, obviously, it can be much more important because the stakes are higher, but even things like changing the oil, it feels so much more impactful when you do it on the motorcycle because there's not as much going on there. There's not as much gewgaws and distractions. It's just, stripped down to its most basic essence. It's a frame, two wheels, motor, handlebars. Hell, even the seat's optional if you look at some of those chopper guys. But it's... And there's so much more to be said for doing those things on such a basic machine because it just strips away all those distractions. It strips away all that extra. And then also it can be, just in my experience, the community. The biker community is unlike any other community I've ever been a part of. The way they, that people tend to look out for each other much more on a motorcycle. I started experiencing that on day one. I know I've told this story a few times before, but I always love the one where I just gotten my first street bike, which was the Honda Shadow 750, and I was riding up, I think it was 495 in Massachusetts, which is a pretty busy highway, and gets a lot of traffic. The road gets pretty rough. I was going maybe 70 miles an hour. I smacked into a pothole really hard, the back tire. Didn't feel anything immediately wrong, but I knew it was a big hit. All of a sudden, a guy driving a semi-truck in the right lane kind of pulls up next to me, and I can see that he's trying to wave at me, he's trying to signal me. He's like, hey man. And I'm thinking, oh no, I've done something wrong, but I can see he's starting to pull over. So like, all right, I'll pull over too. And he goes, hey, I don't know if you were aware of this, but your license plate and your taillights are like hanging on by a thread, like you're about to lose everything. And I said, oh, and I looked back. And because of the way the lights were mounted on this particular bike, they weren't secured very well because somebody had done some aftermarket work to the rear fender. or at least that area. And when I hit that pothole, it knocked part of the license plate like bracket loose, and that's also what was holding the taillights on because the person had repositioned them to make more room for bags. I was about to lose the whole thing. I was like, "Oh man, that thank you for letting me know what I do." He goes, "Well, hang on, I think I can get you fixed up." So we looked around. He found a piece of a shirt that had been left by the side of the highway, tore it up, put it through the hole of the license plate, tied it in a knot. And he goes, "Well, how far do you got to go?" I was just like, "Well, I just got to go back to my house. Probably only about 10 miles away." He goes, "Okay, yeah, this will make it that far, but obviously go get some fasteners and do this properly." And I was like, "But hey, hey man, thank you. How do I repay you?" And he just looks at me, he goes, "Dude, I ride a bike." He goes, "How long have you been doing this?" I was like, "Well, I got my license a month ago." He's like, "Okay." He goes, I ride a bike too." He goes, "This is what we do. We look out for each other. The only thing you need to do for me is pay it forward." That was the last I've ever seen of that guy. It probably will be the only time I ever encounter that man in my life. The whole time I've been trying to do that whole thing forward. And really the biker community, I mean, everybody I think's got, you start riding long enough, you got stories like that. Stuff that you just don't encounter in a lot of other places. And a big part of the reason I've always believed is that the motorcycles themselves are a great equalizer. Doesn't matter how much money you spent on that bike, what your position is in life, where you came from, where you're going. Pretty much every biker out on the road has one thing in common. 2 strips of rubber are all very thin strips, very small contact patch, is all that is separating you from extreme injury and or death. That's it. I feel like that there is a great sort of equalizer that results from that. And from that, obviously everybody knows the biker wave. I mean, maybe I've seen Jeep Wrangler guys do it, but other than that, point to me another community where you got that level of sort of instant recognition between two complete strangers. Sadly, it feels like these days you don't see it a lot in a lot of other places. I'm sure it does exist, don't get me wrong, but in my life, that's where I've encountered it. So not only is it better because the bike has made it better, but if you're going about this with a good mind and a good heart, the bike can make you better.
Yeah.
All around improvement.
Yeah, I like that.
Totally agree.
So yeah.
My 2 cents.
Well said, Yankee, as always.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve.
So I'm gonna go back to what Juice said about being more economical. We have all packed for a trip,
It's a lie.
whether it be a 5-day trip, 7-day trip, 3-day trip. When you're packing a car, it's like, here, let me take, I got to say, underwear, boots, gloves, the kitchen sink. I need to take 4 or 5 cases of beer. I'm going to take this big ice chest. And when you're on a bike, it's like, okay, I really have to bring only what I need.
And a cast iron pan.
And you always need a cast iron pan.
Cast iron.
And a bearskin.
But we're much better at packing for what we really need, not what it would be nice to have. We get all the stuff we need, and then we might be able to pack a couple of little pockets on our back or on our tank bag with just a few extra little things that we want. But we have to be more economical than everybody else because we just have limited time, limited space. We have all the weather to deal with, and we have to prepare for everything that can possibly happen on the road and make it all pack onto one motorcycle.
Yeah, we actually, whether or not we agree to it, I think we are buying into the minimalism lifestyle. We don't want to be called that, but I think that's definitely what we do. Big, small, selling more or less. We're all in on that, and
Well, that much degree, I would say.
Totally required. And I think we're also better at making friends. It's like Yankee said, once you see another motorcyclist, you stop, you instantly are sharing a lot of things. Whether it be immediately when you see somebody out there stuck in the rain, you're immediately reliving the misery you had and going, yep, that's my buddy out there riding in the rain. That's my bro. Don't know his name, don't know where he come from. I can't even tell what color he is, but that's my brother because he's out there riding in the rain. And we have a shared misery.
For the most part.
For those people.
Well,
Yeah, those of us who leave California, we have to ride through rain.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But I probably come from a different perspective than the rest of you being in California, but I don't know that the mindset is the same here in California as it might be in other states, which kind of sucks. But I don't see us as magnanimous as you guys. Maybe it's Southern hospitality versus like West Coast cutthroat. Like I have to be first and I have to be best and fuck you.
I think it's because on the West Coast, especially in California, people don't need to have good weather to ride. Anybody can buy a bike. If you're in the Midwest, especially up in the North, or in the South where it's 110 degrees, you ride a bike because you really want to ride a bike, not because it's the cool thing that day. California has gotten into, and they have them everywhere. Like I said, we have guys here that won't put 100 miles, in a season on their bike. They just want a bike because it makes them look cool. And there's more of those guys, I think, in California because I'm here, it's sunny all the time, and I can park it. And if I decide in the middle of winter to take it out, I can. So I'm going to be practical, and I can ride it any time. There's just more of them there because it's more like a party scene there with the motorcycles where, I've even seen a lot of these big name people, say they don't put more than 1,000 miles on a bike in a year. But everyone assumes they're these big motorcycle people. And they're not. They just collect a lot of motorcycles.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not to be cool, although that is probably a large contingent of it because it does become an expensive hobby. And if you can't afford it, you're not going to sink a ton of money into it. So there are the people that want to be cool. There are people like me, and I want to qualify myself. But it's like, fucking of course. Like it's the cheapest hobby. Well, after you've paid for all your mods and everything, and you got your bike to where you want to be. So in that sense, it's really expensive. But on an everyday, what do? I've got a couple hours. Well, I can go to the range. I can go surfing. Gas money for surfing. The range, it's $250 a shot plus range fees, and gas money, or hop on the bike and go up in the mountains. So it's the cheapest hobby that I have. I just don't get to do it a lot.
Yeah, it just takes gas money.
It's cheap until it isn't.
Unless you're in the winter.
Yeah.
Well, there's something I was going to add to that. It's funny too when people ask me, like on the Sportster, I've done a shitload of mods to the Sportster, and they're like, "Oh, where'd you get that from?" And if I tell them, "Well, I got it off eBay or I got it off Amazon," and they instantly say, "Oh, I would never put anything from Amazon on my motorcycle," and that's when I go, "We are not the same. We ride on different levels." I get one to put good stuff on the bike, but you can get so much good stuff. Like we've talked about the Crater fairing versus the Burley fairing. It's the exact same fairing. But some people are just stuck on buying. What's the new? And everybody's even in our Discord, people are going crazy for some fairing. Advan. It's like, really? You're gonna spend that much money?
Some people was Goon. We're gonna call him out. That was Goon. He wants the new Advan,
like,
Advan fairing for his Loretta S.
And I hate to say it, but it's like, why? That's the people that will pay for something because it has a name,
To be fair, though, he has been talking about putting on the Loretta ST fairing for since that's been around, and even before Advan announced they were going to do color match fairings. So
also, to be completely fair too, when it comes to anything with the motorcycle that you do with it, whether it makes sense or not. I mean, for me, logic left the room a long time ago when it comes to anything regarding bikes. No, logic is not the reason I do anyway. Actually, it's one thing I consider that I like about motorcycling so much is that for me, it's an escape from logic. It's an escape from sensibility. It's an escape from doing this thing because, this is an objectively good or bad idea. For a long time, that was kind of how my life went. But then when I got on a motorcycle, it's like it's my release from that. I don't care if it makes sense anymore. I don't care if it's the most advisable thing or the safest or the smartest. Not the concern anymore. So I'm spending, 2,000 or I don't know. I didn't look at the prices because I don't care. I don't like fairings. But if spending, a couple $1,000s on a fairing is what tickles you, well, you got the money, go for it because it doesn't make any more or less sense than what I'm doing.
Oh, I agree with that. There's a lot of things I wanted to do this Sportster, and if I wanted to do them at top name stuff, to afford to do that, it would be 5 years before I get done to the Sportster what I want to the Sportster. But going to swap meets, going to eBay, getting stuff off Amazon, I can have everything I want. under $1,000, and I can get it done in a few months. So I guess I've always been, a lot of us probably grew up poor, but I grew up practicality over. What was somebody, we heard it in one of the chats the other day, practicality over style or name brand stuff, and I can't remember how it was actually put, but yeah, I want stuff, I want it now, but I also want it to be good, and I don't care if it's name brand, I want it to be good, because once I paint it, it's going to look name brand, it's going to look the same.
Mm-hmm. When it comes to mods, especially like when people are like, "Oh, Amazon and eBay mods, you gotta be careful with." Yeah, you do gotta be careful with some of them because some of them are absolute trash.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be careful with Harley brand stuff.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with the expensive stuff.
You got to know what you're getting.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to know.
I bought a $1,000 tour pack and got burned because it broke 3 months later, and their warranty was 30 days. I will not recommend that company to anybody.
What's the company?
There's a YouTuber.
Put them on blast. Put them on blast. I want to hear right now.
No.
Yeah, fuck those
I will
guys.
say there's a YouTuber that's like, "Oh, I don't see why everybody complains about these." And yeah, I was one of the people that got commented on one of those videos like, "I've got burned hard."
Well, I will throw one of the big names, and we all know who touted them. We all know who advertised them, but that British helmet company.
Yeah.
And everybody just had to have that. Everybody had to have that helmet. Oh my God, so and so has that helmet, and they have this helmet, and they have this helmet. Not 6 months later, everybody's going, "Oh, I bought that helmet, and it cracked. I bought that helmet, it shattered the first time I fell off the bike."
Well,
all right, I must have missed that one. Can you tell me the name of the British company? You'll tell me the name of the YouTuber. But
it was
starts with an R, ends with a C.
yeah. Blue Rock.
Rhymes with slang term for your penis.
It was Blue Rock. Blue Rock sent everybody helmets, and everybody released their helmet video on the exact same
on
day.
the same day. That I remember, yeah.
And
I
it was,
they were trying to get their name out hard.
yeah, and within probably 6 months, one of the women, Hersey Wheels, literally within like a month, she was like, "I don't like this. This is garbage. It leaks. There's rain everywhere." And I've said this before. Helmet visors aren't meant to be waterproof and vapor proof. They're meant to let a little water in because that lets air in and it keeps them from fogging up. But she showed the crack, and you literally could stick your finger in it when it cooled off. You could actually stick your finger through the top of the helmet between the shield and the helmet because they're just garbage.
Well, there's
They
an old
sure sold
phrase.
a lot of them though.
But there's an old phrase in the advertising industry is that the best way to kill a bad product is with good advertising.
Yeah.
So, I don't. Me personally, I would never ever fucking do that. I don't even like to go on YouTube and search the name of the company, my company, because I just don't want to. I want to keep my head down, and I don't have 30-day cutoff periods. I'll take, I'll replace stuff that you've worn for 6 months if it's a maintenance thing. So it's, if you want to be around for a minute and you don't want to just go up and then down, like you can't do that, in my opinion.
The story I like to tell is when I called the number that somebody through an email gave me, and when I called it, the owner of the company answered the phone, and I love telling that story.
Well,
But
what's the story?
So Jess was saying when she, as a brand partner, tried to call them, they would not return her phone calls. Rev-It USA would not call her back. But then some dude that I did a review on his gloves sent me an email and said, "Hey, call this number." And when the dude answered the phone, it was the owner of the company. He's like, "Hey, let me send you some more stuff. Would you like to try all my shit?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Well, what do I got to do?" He's like, "Nothing. Just try my shit. I'll send it to you." Yeah. But it's
I still answer. Yeah, I answer as many calls as I can.
Yeah, but even this was even before I got big. Couldn't get him to answer the phone. It's like it's crazy. Good customer service will save a company, and I even working service. I used to work service, and people would call and complain. I'd listen to them, and then you can cut down. First thing you learn in service is, okay, well, what can I do for you? How can I fix this? Because that's what they want. They don't want their excuse why it happened, and they don't want the chemical list of how it broke down or whatever. They want to know how you're going to fix it, if it's logical. and then you fix it, and they'll come back to you. And I've had customers tell me, if it wasn't for you, I'd have left this company a long time ago. And you can keep it in the company just by fixing their problems. You don't have to explain 10 million reasons why it's not your fault and you're going to fix it because the engineers are stupid. They just want their problem fixed. And it's just, I think it's just crazy that some of these companies will not even answer your emails or your phone calls or nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at a certain point, I don't know if it's a different philosophy or it's a different strategy to marketing, but or just, you know, as a company, it seems crazy not to have a really good relationship with your customer base, because if they get good customer service, they're going to tell their friends about it.
Yep. They get you where you are, and they can put you in a different place too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
True
Which
story.
is, you know. Yeah, and that was years ago. Oh my God, I had to have been 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Has it been that long?
I think so.
Oh God.
Because we were in our old warehouse that was like 1,300 square feet.
Yeah, it was before the first time I went to Forgotten Angels. Holy shit, that was a long time ago.
And
Damn.
now we're in 6,000 square feet. So I've been here for like a while. So yeah, it's been a minute. And I still answer calls.
Yeah.
Because it's fun. Like, you know, you get to talk to people about, you know, how boots work and how you choose your size, and, you know, what to, even if you don't buy, it's just what to look for. Like, all right, really what you want to look for is when you put on a boot for the first time, does your heel feel nice and snug? That's really the only thing that should feel nice and snug and good. Everything else will break in shape. But a lot of people don't know that. It's not like, oh, I put this in and it feels too tight. Well, of course it feels tight. It's A, it's a motorcycle boot. B, it's leather. But if your heel is nice and snug, the rest will come. Most people don't know that. And so you just explain things to people, talk to them, and then they buy. And then they come back and they buy some more. And then if something happens, you replace it, refund it. I mean, there's no reason not to.
Unless they're a dick and they come back 2 years later and go, my strap's broke. Replace it.
I'm an elephant tamer at the zoo, and I ruined my boots. Can you replace these? And they are just clap.
An elephant shit on my boot and it came right through. These aren't watertight.
Or if you go through a lot of mud and you wash it out in a tub and you swash that, and then you put it on your dryer, and the inner heel counter that's red, which was chosen for a reason, that dye leaks, and all of a sudden you're in a puddle of blood. Hey man, maybe don't dunk your boots in the tub, Michael Keaton.
I had to wash them.
Okay, but you're not supposed to dunk them in the tub. And you said, no, I wasn't.
It was a good test.
I wasn't dunking them in the tub, but I was hosing on the inside and then sloshing around and dumping it out. And I'm like, that's the same thing. You broke the barrier. Like, and I'm glad you did, because that shit, like, I was having a bad day already, and I got that call, and I was having a bad day, and then you just sent me that text, and it's like, my washroom looks like a crime scene. I was like, maybe I should just fucking stop doing this and go do something else. Fortunately, you talked to me for like an hour, and I'm like, okay, all right, I feel better. But it was like, I know there's dye transfer, and that's part of the branding.
Diana says, "Who's cleaning my floors?"
We're gonna pull the molding off this weekend. I'll take care of it after I finish the attic.
But if you wear white socks, you're gonna get a little red heel transfer, and
Yep.
I want that to be part of what I call the Bloody Heels Gang.
Yeah.
Now I haven't implemented
I like
that.
that.
Well, it was when I was watching Black Mass, and they were talking. Whitey Bulger is part of the Winter Hill Gang.
That's close
I
to
was
home.
like, and I was like, I want a gang. Like, how can I have a gang? So I'm like, all right, so we're gonna call it the Bloody Heels Gang. It was a deliberate choice.
Are you in the Indie Rich gang? Yeah, look at my sock.
Yeah, look at socks. And that's basically what I tell people is that, like, all right, well, you can, you know, if you're really attached to your white socks, you can return the boot. That's fine. Or you can just embrace the fact that you're now part of the Bloody Heels Gang.
Bloody
You know
Heels
what I
I
mean?
mean, white
I
socks.
don't know if you can see it right there, but I got a little bit of a pink stain on the back of the sock.
Or gray socks, so it's not as noticeable. Yeah. I do know I can't wear my motorcycle socks with regular tennis shoes to the gym because it does look funny. It looks like I've been running too much. Looks like my heels are bleeding. So people are like, hey man, your feet are. I know. It's fine. I'm fine.
It's dying.
Wear different colored
I
socks.
can just
then.
fake like I just finished a
Or-
marathon.
Or hey, maybe don't give a fuck what anybody else thinks
Yes.
and just go to the gym and do what you need to do.
Go to the gym in my black
Because-
socks.
Well, or like, are you going to the gym for
My
them?
Nikes.
Or are you going to the gym for you? Which one are you going for?
Oh, for yeah, I pick up bitches all the time.
Okay, well then,
No offense for me.
It's
It's to hold on to my youth. It's hold on to my fleeting youth.
Yeah, I go to prevent injuries, and I go to maintain, you know, my girlish physique, and I couldn't give a fuck what the guy next to me thinks about me. I've never taken a gym selfie in my life. I've never taken a so I went on a trail run up in the mountains. It was like 12 miles out and back with about 1,000 miles, 2,000. It's at 5,000 feet. It's about 1,000 miles of elevation. It's a hard run. I didn't take one picture because that run is not for anybody else. That run is for me. And why would I take a picture? I just look around, enjoy the view, run back down. So
Yeah, all my finish line photos look like I'm about to die. I don't know why anybody likes their finish line. I tell you what, if you're taking a finish line selfie, you didn't really run that race. You probably walked it. Just gonna say.
yeah.
I mean, most people do.
I'm too
I mean,
competitive.
at this point, I do have a whole album of gym selfies, but that's more because I was trying to get these assholes to hold me accountable. Was the idea?
Yes, you're looking very good. We like your gym selfies. It reminds me that I did.
That's
the other day.
fine, but it's like when you start
Yeah.
posting on Instagram and you're like posing and
Yeah,
I see you posing, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
video you and send it out to a bunch of people. Like that's what I'll do. Like, you know, guys doing like TikTok dances in front of the mirror. I'm gonna fucking film that. Like, I'll shoot that. I'm not gonna film
I don't-
myself working.
I don't do much flexing at the gym, but if somebody did start filming me and that sort of thing, at that point, I would just lean into it 1,000% harder. Like, I mean, at this point, you're getting I'm too sexy, and I know it, like that kind of thing.
I saw a phone holder for taking selfies on Instagram the other day, and I was waiting for the punchline. I thought it was going to end up being a joke or something, and that was an actual commercial for a phone holder where you could put your phone anywhere in the gym, wrap it on any piece of equipment. And I was waiting for like a Robert Frank thing where he walks up and grabs it and yanks it apart because he does those kind of little skits. But I'm like, who is going to buy this? No, somebody will buy this.
A lot of
Yeah.
people will buy that.
Nope, someone will buy this, no doubt.
Like, remember when selfie sticks first came out and how
Oh yeah.
quickly those became popular?
Good God, those were a joke. To get us
And
back
now
on
it's
track,
it's like it just kind of you see it happening. You might feel one way or another, but you kind of just keep walking.
Yeah.
Whereas I'd be fucking like, I'd be super embarrassed.
as long as they're not taking up the gym, I'll just step around them. But I saw one the other day where a dude was walking through the gym and he got in front of her picture and she freaked out on him. So he takes his camera out and just starts filming both of them, him following her around, making faces behind her head while she was working out. It was the funniest thing ever. But people are dumb.
So
Pretty good. Do you really have no actual problems in your life that this is what you get
Yeah,
pissed
it's
about?
like
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Like,
Like, if that's what you're spending your time on,
Uh,
like, do you have nothing else to do or to think about? And like, oh my God.
I'm sorry, Juice. I totally interrupted you. What were you about to say?
I was trying to get us back on topic, but I'm totally
Yeah.
okay with this.
I'll get us back on topic. So Annette, other than Devin, what do you like? What is your it you like to do?
I mean, I think for me, the it is like just managing stressful situations better. Like, you know, you have a really hard day at work, like Steve was talking about earlier, or, you know, just a bunch of crap going on in life, and you just go out for that ride, and all that stress just melts away. Like, it's just, that's what it is for me, is just pretty much stress management. So, and, you know, also having fun and meeting a bunch of really freaking weird people that seem to like me for some reason. I don't know why, but
Who?
I feel the same way.
Who liked you?
Why do people like me? I don't know. I thought I was an asshole. I was told that so many times growing up.
We wanted company.
Yeah,
I-
I think when you're around your people, you just know. And I've been told I'm a different person depending on who I'm around, and it's just because some people you jive with and you have a really good time with, and some people just not. I don't think you notice it sometimes, but just some people just make you so uncomfortable that you just can't be yourself, and you start getting a little standoffish. But when you're around people that are your vibe, you will check your vibe check. You can be yourself, and there's that's why I like going to Forgotten Angels. There's no machismo. There's no false sense of air. You can just be yourself, and everybody's gonna accept you, no matter how weird you are. And we'll mention how weird you are, but we still accept you for it. So, Annette,
yeah, because you're just as
So,
weird as the person
yeah.
you're calling out.
true story, and everybody knows it, so it's not a big deal.
Takes
Who was
one
it?
to know one.
Oh, wasn't it Annette we were stacking straws on at the scramble?
Yeah.
The straw
Yeah.
rattler.
Yeah.
That was so good. That was fun.
Yeah, when Sid passed her stealth check.
Get the self check. Yeah. Just good to be with like-minded people. So we're gonna make the round back to Juice. Juice,
Oh,
what's your
speaking
it?
of-
Oh,
No, we're not.
I was gonna say, hold on.
We're gonna go to Sid. We're gonna go to
Speak of the
Trucker
devil.
Sid. Trucker
Get
Sid.
Product
So-
placement there. I like it too. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you.
Very
Hi,
nice.
guys.
How do you like the hat?
it's pretty comfy. My head's a little small, but it's pretty comfy.
Well, I
I'm still
think
working
that
on I'm still working on the bend, like
Josh said it was the only hat that fits his head,
Yeah.
so he likes it, but can't please everybody. But I thought it would
it's
be a
all
good
good,
one
man.
to send
Honest, it's still pretty dang comfy though.
you. Yeah, well,
We don't mind your
it's
small
just a
head.
hat.
It's a predator head. It's for like going inside people's rib cage and ripping out their organs.
Yeah, that.
You know that about predator animals? That's how you can tell that an animal is a predator and has a small head. That's for going inside, bodies and ripping out the vital organs that are tasty, by the way, like livers and hearts. And so don't feel bad about your small head. There's a use. Very useful.
It's the placement of the eyes.
Hi, Sid.
Do orcas have a small head? Because I feel like they're very surgical in removing.
Oh,
the
that
liver.
beak. Well, they have a small beak. They go straight in. Notice that. Very small in the front, big head.
I see. Like again, this goes to my point a couple weeks ago. That how the fuck do you know the answer to the question that I asked about every single topic?
Yeah.
Like
I know
it's
so
very
much trivial
strange.
shit.
Like it's incredibly strange. No one else could have answered that question on this stream but you.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nobody knew that answer. But you, of course, say, "Oh, no, but they have this tiny beak." It's like, all right, so orcas, motorcycle parts. I showed you a picture of a busted plane. Oh yeah, that's part of that thing. Maybe you're making this up.
The airframe.
Like, maybe you're just
I
like
could totally
gaslighting all of us.
Honestly,
No, I was-
if you say anything with enough confidence, people will believe you. Like,
Mhm.
straight up. I could just come up and be like, y'all, the sky is green right now. We're like, go check that shit out. And people would be like, wait, no the fuck it's not. Like,
Well, you know what they say. 65% of the time, if you can provide a percentage of correctness, people will believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah,
Just
I've heard
like
that.
I
That
just
makes
did.
sense. That's real.
I have
No,
no
I
idea
was-
what you just said.
I was poor as a kid, and I read a lot, and I learned a lot of shit. And then when I got in the military, they learned I was smart and gave me more shit to learn. Useless
About
information
orcas.
about orcas. Yeah,
There's a
Wa-
special
water
section. You have
survival?
to pass orc. Exactly. Oh,
Water survival
is
is a
there
good thing.
actually? Are you fucking serious?
Oh yeah,
I was joking.
what animals to avoid in the ocean? Oh yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, never
I mean,
trust.
that makes sense.
I guess it makes sense, but I was kidding.
Never trust a predator. Yeah, because they're a predator first and a cute animal later.
Mm-hmm.
Like Sydney. Look at her. Look at her over there. She knows I'm talking about her.
So, speaking of things that bikers do better, I'm going to quickly interject before we hop over to what Sid has to say. But this one comes in from our good friend, Nothing at Random. He says that bikers piss people off better. That's what we do.
Well,
This
that's
is true.
cool, brother.
Some people do.
I jive. I don't piss people off.
But even if you don't think you're pissing somebody off, just know that there's a Karen out there that
There is a
you
Karen.
you ride your Sportster by, and you are doing nothing wrong. From a legal standpoint, from probably in most people's moral standpoint, you are doing nothing, but you have ruined that lady's day.
Oh, I definitely noticed a difference between how people respond to me when I'm on the BMW and when I'm on the Sportster. But
Well, I mean, just
it doesn't
like-
take long to win them over. I mean, you do your best.
Well, like just getting gas and pulling into a gas station.
Like, oh, so inconvenienced by you and your quick.
Well, no,
fuel
it's
stop.
not that, but it's like turning it over and turning on the turning on the motorcycle. I saw this old lady go like, oh God, 'cause I guess the pipes are too loud. It was just like, sorry, I have to start the motorcycle.
Even when you pull up and you're quiet and you're courteous, as soon as you get off the bike and you shoot the finger at them, oh, you're an asshole. Why? Why? All right, Sid, you're up. Sid, it. Bikers do it better. What is your it?
Oh, shit.
On the
Shit
spot.
it? I guess shit isn't it. It. Shit it.
I would say appreciate the little things. They appreciate the little things better because a lot of the times we don't know if we're. I'm sorry, she's harassing me. We don't know if we're coming back from our ride. Like you could be going to the store really quick and you could be going to the store and going through an intersection. Just someone could be having a bad day and might not be able to go home. Oh Jesus Christ!
Give that baby attention. Give that baby some attention. Jeez.
Never
Well-
apologize for cats on the internet. If I've
Don't
learned
shun.
anything.
Yeah, never shun
Yeah.
the cat. It's bad luck.
Yep.
Yeah, and people will go after you. So, and they'll make a documentary about it.
You can never run for president. You'll be that person that abused a cat online. And it lives forever.
I was talking specifically about the documentary "Don't Mess with Cats" or something like that. Mad Yankee. I feel like you've seen it.
Maybe no, can't say I have.
It's on Netflix. It's called "Don't Mess with Cats" or something. And
Okay then.
I sent Sydney a meme today, a cartoon, and she didn't even respond to it. I felt like I didn't do my best.
So it's a tough audience.
Sid's a tough audience. You've got to work hard to get an LOL out of her.
She's
She likes the hat too.
Mm-hmm.
nice. Yeah, well, she's good.
Oh, lick the ear.
Taste.
Lick the ear. Passion cat. Wow, chicka wow wow cat.
Yeah, appreciating the
Licking the
little things.
neck. Come on.
Wow.
Too hot for TV.
She's very attractive.
Demonetized.
Good. Oh well. Just got my first check. Oh, I just got my first check from YouTube. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Do good.
She's the best. I love
Never
this
another
cat
one
so
because
much.
now there's been cat licking.
Yeah. Well, I could say a different word.
I was going to,
Licking.
and I didn't.
Yeah.
We can say furry action. Sydney's into the furry action over there.
I don't even know if that's safe.
We gotta get
anymore.
demonetized.
Yeah.
No,
I don't think anything's safe anymore. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, nothing's
it's true.
safe.
Everything has been ruined by everyone. The end.
I think we have come a long way. As
We
a
fucked it
podcast.
all up. It's over.
I noticed.
We had our shot, and we fucked it all up.
This is entropy in action.
Yeah.
I have a friend who got demonetized. She's a songwriter, and she said anorexia and eating disorder in one of her streams, and they demonetized her for saying the eating disorder and anorexia on a stream. Demonetized her. So now when she says it, she has to blur it out. Yeah, the AI has gotten very weird online because they're afraid people will be offended by words like that, phrases like that. It's insane.
Well, you can't even sell Harley Fat Boy on Facebook Marketplace because it'll get flagged for hate speech.
I had one of the very first videos before I started doing stuff. I made a cooking video for Christmas crack. You know what Christmas crack is?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, somebody brought it into work. It's delicious.
I got my video taken down because I said Christmas crack. I had to change it to festive caramel treat.
Juice.
I mean,
Well, maybe there's some validity there.
Not Michigan crack. This is different.
Yeah.
All right, back to
Does
juice.
everybody have their Christmas crack? Yeah. Okay, we're good for the holidays. We got to see the family. We need our Christmas crack.
So who have we not covered yet? Juice, did you get your second turn around?
I think I got the last. Well, I gave
Just do it.
Aaron's, but I've got at least one more in my head that's
Go
a
for it.
ruin. But this we may not all agree on this one actually, but I feel like bikers generally may agree on this one. Bikers ruin relationships better than a lot of other demographics. I think that even in my own personal experience, before I bought a street motorcycle, I even floated the idea of like, I'm thinking about getting a motorcycle, and I was in a relationship at the time, and it didn't go over well. But I'm single, so obviously you all know how that worked out. But I feel like that's a lot of people's story. Is like it's a really controversial thing, and being in a relationship, I do understand. Like I see that like motorcycling brings me life, but like people a lot of times only see the negative of it. That's tough, and that is hard on relationships, and it has caused many to split or divorces or countless examples, right? So maybe it's not 100% truth for every single biker, but
I think
I
it
feel
goes.
like that's important.
I think it goes back to that vibe check. I mean, that's a good vibe check to see if somebody passes it. If you're in, look at those two right there. Look at that AZDC. They're so confident together. That they,
Absolutely, like I said, so it obviously isn't true for everybody,
but that's how you find your vibe. That's how you find your vibe. I
So,
mean,
to
look at
take
Shay.
this-
Look
yeah,
at Shay.
what-
She was
yeah.
you never saw the other Drew. You never saw him, and now all of a sudden she's with a dude that rides motorcycles. They are loving life. They can go places together. They do things together.
Mhm.
Before she couldn't because the person that she was with didn't like motorcycles, didn't want to go out, so she's always going off by herself. And as we know, solo trips sometimes are fun, but how much more awesome it is, AZ to the DZ, when you can take that person with you and enjoy it together.
Yeah, and knowing of quite a few guys that have wives that don't ride and whatnot, a lot of them, it's like, yeah, it kind of sucks sometimes because you'd rather them be there to enjoy the moment with you, but it's one of those things you just got to know, like, this is something I enjoy doing. If you're in a relationship, you got to let them know, this is something I enjoy doing. We get together, I'm not stopping.
Oh, yeah.
So-
I mean, it's always cool when you're out on a ride, and you're on the helmets, and she's like, oh, look at that. Oh, check that out. That's cool. That's something you got to share together, and it's very awesome. So I'm sure you two do the same thing. But things that are that awesome are so much better when you can share them with somebody.
Yeah.
They're probably gonna kill me for doing this, but those, I don't know how well it's coming through. Those are my parents on last
cool.
year
No,
on my dad's
cool.
Chief.
No, that's cool as hell, man.
Yep, that is yep, that's the on the Kangamangas Highway in here in New Hampshire during Bike Week. So
Okay. When it wasn't
No
me.
helmets.
no, actually, funny story. Because a lot of people talk about when they ride, their parents are like, oh yeah, do this, please wear a helmet, please wear gloves. My dad yells at me for wearing gear. You know, like I stopped to like put my gloves on. He's like, what are you doing that for? You're wasting time. Get back on the bike.
Yeah, we talked
No,
to
we're
your
a
dad.
helmet. He's like, if you ride once with that helmet, you'll never wear it again when you don't have to. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever, Dad.
Meanwhile, my stepdad was the opposite because he went down at an intersection and then he's like, can I like try your guys' helmets on? Like, I'm just curious to see how they would fit. And then he bought it like the night he tried my helmet on.
He realized he's not 20 years old anymore.
Yeah, he's like, man, this shit hurts.
I feel like my mom really has actually the best idea on it. She was like, well, I'm your mom. I'm going to feel better if you're being safer and taking more precautions. But at the end of the day, you do what you're comfortable with. You wear as much gear as you're comfortable with and tell everybody else to fuck off. And this is kind of, that's my real philosophy.
Yep.
I mean, I don't have an option, so it's always weird to like. I was in Miami a couple weeks ago, and I was driving up. I don't know, one fucking highway. Fucking driving in Miami, you can go fuck itself. But it was a father and a son, and they're both not wearing helmets, and I'm like, I guess that's a thing here, and people do it, and it's weird to me because that's something you obviously would never see in California. You have to wear them, and there's no question. But it was just like, that's interesting.
I'm all for personal freedom, but my personal for me, because I didn't wear one until I had my wreck, and then after the doctor told me you should be dead, and I sent it to Fulmer Helmet, and he said, this helmet saved your life because it took it was 1,200 pounds of force. And he said, if you wouldn't have had this helmet on, you'd be a vegetable. That changed my life. And, do some people have wrecks and still not wear them? Absolutely. We all know somebody from the camp out that had a wreck and literally took off a $50 size piece of flesh off of his skull and still will not wear a helmet. But it's a personal choice. I can't degrade the guy for doing that. I know I wouldn't do it, but that's his personal choice. And that's a good thing that you have that personal choice sometimes. It's your life. You get to do it with it what you want to.
It's a little bit different when you're involving a child, though.
Oh, definitely. I don't know any states.
That's a whole different paradigm.
Oh, I don't know any states that don't have a law for 18 years and old. Under 18 has to wear a helmet. That's even in Arkansas, as backwards and fucked and crossbred as they are. Under 18, you have to have a helmet on.
No,
same here.
12.
That's insane.
I mean, and Miami's a shit show to drive. It's like nobody knows how to drive all of a sudden, especially after the sun goes down, and it's like, oh my god.
We went to Fort Lauderdale and walked from the port into Lauderdale and went to the candy factory. We beat people who took taxis walking.
Oh yeah.
Because you cannot get A1A. Period.
My dad drives semi over Florida. He complains daily about the traffic. It's like, you're the one that moved down there.
I thought like I knew traffic in California and LA, and I'm like, oh no, this is next level like horror. Go like 8 miles, like 3 hours.
I told you, so I flew into LA, went to get an Enterprise rental car, got a car, and then drove to Beaumont, California, into Palm Springs. Once I got out of LA proper, dude, I was flying. Florida, you can't do that. Anywhere in Florida, you're in Florida. Welcome to Florida. Slow the fuck down and have a nice day.
Yeah. Outside of LA proper, yeah. Just as long as you're not in like the middle of the weekend, you're in eastbound rush hour, you're fine. Unless you're lane splitting.
And the lanes there are like 6 lanes wide each side, so that helps.
Yeah, I don't do it, just because I know too many people there's people who move out of the way, and there's the opposite. They'll go in the way. They'll make it a point to cut off your ability to ride
people off.
Yeah.
Your access.
Mm-hmm.
People are dumb.
I know guys who I know plenty of people here who they'll drive by when they do drive by, and they'll smash off their side view mirror.
Yes.
Like
It's on the internet. That's a toxic trait of biker culture. I wish we would stop doing that and putting it on the internet. Maybe
And that's
people,
not
if they
even
want to do
biker.
that, that's fine. But don't record it and put it on
Well,
the internet.
that's not.
Yeah.
Oh no,
culture,
this is
that's-
like
that's
just a
just
friend,
asshole
and like,
culture.
No, but-
like he works 2 doors down. He's a great guy, nicest guy in the world, but like,
It's been romanticized though on the internet. Like,
It has.
yeah.
And that just makes
Yeah.
more people want to do it. It's like the cinnamon challenge. It's like, why if you would never have had a person film it and say, look how cool I am doing it, no one else would have done it. If
Yeah.
the first 10 people that commented would have said, you're a fucking idiot, you know, why are you doing this? He probably would have stopped. But you know, people who don't know any better are like, oh, you're so cool. I want to be like you when I grow up. You know, then it just becomes a thing, and then it just gets worse.
yeah. Well, Clint, who's my next door neighbor, who the guy bought the bike from, also installed flames that come out of the back just because he thought it'd be fun. So when the guy bought that bike, it's the same guy who is next door to Clint, Highway 66 Choppers, shout out. This Honda Accord cut him off and then just sat in front. So this guy went around him, then sat, and then turned on the flames and roasted that Accord and sped off. So different kind of person, different mentality here in California. I don't know.
It is
You guys don't
hard
have
to the people that cut you off and stuff, and then you had a red light. It's hard not to jump off the bike because I have a window breaker on my side because the job I do. It's hard not to jump off the bike, run up, break out all the windows, and then take off.
You don't
But I
got
think
these two window breakers right here,
that. I was gonna say, like,
No,
like
but-
I,
Oh, no.
I could break a window.
or
No,
even
wait.
your elbow.
You don't understand. It is so much easier to break a window with a window breaker.
I know.
Oh,
I'm done.
Standard
Fine.
issue camping gear.
Yes, but you know, I guess you reach a point in your life where you're like, do I want to be angry all my life at all the stupid people? Because you're not the last person. It's not a personal thing. You're not the last person they're going to be stupid to. They're going to do it to somebody else, and eventually karma will catch up to them. I've seen it happen a million times. We've all seen that guy who's passed you, cut you off, ran up, cut the next guy off, and hauled ass down the road like his ass was on fire.
Mhm.
You get up, you know, another couple miles off the road, he's either in the ditch or he's been stopped by a cop.
Seen it.
Red,
It was
No.
very satisfying. I went down to surf. There was a big ass swell in California, so I went down to Rosarito. Very satisfying to see this jackass in a Ford F-150 or whatever, just 90 in and out of all of the lanes, and there was a motorcycle cop right there. Hold them over. It's so satisfying to watch, like to actually see it in person.
Yeah, we had one day this BMW driver was coming flying, doing like probably close to 100. I see state highway patrol sitting in the middle of the highway. I'm like, this guy gonna slow down a little? Doesn't slow down until he's right in front of the cop and drags his front bumpers. He's slamming the brakes so hard.
why you gotta make
Just
fun
pull
of
them
me?
over.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
the cop immediately put his lights on. Like, you stupid?
I remember one time, actually, my dad and I, we were headed out from just outside Boston to Whiteface Mountain in New York, which is like over by Lake Placid. And we decided we were going to do the whole trip and back in one day because smart. Totally. This was on the Shadow 750, by the way, a bike not built for touring, and I had no windshield. And in order to make it, we had left at 4 in the morning, but it was like unusually cold that day. So even though it was the middle of August, I think it was like 45 degrees. So I'm going up 128. We're going up 128 in Mass, freezing our butts off. And I'm in front. And I'm just sort of sitting in the middle lane, like, okay, whatever here. And there's not even light out yet. And this guy in like a work van comes up from the left lane, and for reasons that I will never understand, maybe he had the cop behind him, I don't know, but he pulls right in front of me on the bike, like, you know, maybe a foot away from me. I'm too cold and tired already to even do anything about it, so I'm just like, okay, what a jackass. But the dude pulls right in front of me like that, and about, I don't know, 10 seconds later, out of my peripheral vision, I could see the flashing blues. The cop saw the guy do that to me and pulled him over, presumably just for doing that. So as we continued on, I was like, okay, thanks, buddy. I owe you guys one.
On the flip side, I got a ticket on Thanksgiving for switching my phone to wireless when my brother called me to wish me happy Thanksgiving. So I'm gonna fight that one, even though it's only like $150.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna spend an inordinate amount of time doing trial by written declaration, and then forcing the cops to show up if it's not accepted. And so, cops are cool until, hey man,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
cool. It's fucking Thanksgiving.
I know both in personal. I know some personals are some of my best friends, and actually one of the people who taught me how to ride is a cop. And then I had one who I lived near for a little bit, and I won't name drop anybody, but I can't say I was overly impressed. So, they all exist. They're all out
Yeah,
there.
they're like regular humans. There's some assholes and there's some nice ones, and
Yep.
I've been stopped on the BMW just so they could look at the bike. And like Gmod was saying, they'll stop and realize that she's an old lady on a bike and go, yeah, you can go. Bye.
You're clean, good.
So
That's true.
on the subject of assholes, Dry Heat Doug was saying, yeah, he didn't let it get to him. He just smiles, drops his elbow, and makes his way onto the bar. Yeah, some asshole that's trying to cut me off is not going to stop me from getting my next beer. So go on, buddy. Have a nice day.
This is true.
You just go on.
You know one thing I heard?
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yep. No, I forget where this was online and maybe saw it on social media a long time ago, but I heard a really cool suggestion. If you get mad at somebody and you're tempted to flip the bird, rather than do that, give him one of these instead. Yeah, the thumbs down. It's less aggressive, it's less antagonistic, but it actually hurts more. Yeah. It's not like Rob, I'm mad at you. It's more like, son, I'm disappointed in you right now.
I do that. I do that. And they can't even.
Way more impactful.
Yeah, it makes them madder, but they also can't do anything about it because you're not showing
right.
aggression. So it's and that's what I'm a big proponent of, is not trying to escalate the situation. Show your disinterest and just go on about your business, and that will hurt them worse than anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did that thumbs down thing to a guy one day. I was driving down 33, I think, and he was just being a royal asshole, just speeding, flying around everybody, and cut me off. And I just did that in his mirror, and I could actually see him looking back up, and he was just kind of
because you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
What do you give the thumbs up back?
Right.
You're supposed to give the sorry. That's what we do in the West.
Yeah.
If you really mean it, that's what you do. You go, sorry.
Yeah, if you're in the Midwest, it's sorry.
Yeah, if you're in the South, it's bless your heart. I wish there was a sign language for that.
Yes.
No, I've only had, so in the last 5 years, I probably only actually got really mad at one person, and it was because on the way back from work one day, the dude just cut me off, and I went to back up, and then somebody else was trying to get in front of me, so I sped back up. The next stoplight, dude starts screaming at me across his girlfriend through the window. You're a fucking asshole. I'll kick your fucking ass. And when he said that, I just kind of clicked. So I got off the bike, and then the dude realized that I wasn't some young kid, and I was like, get out of the car, motherfucker, I'm going to kill you. And he's like, I gotta go. You're a clown. I got places to go. And he ran off, and I'm like, oh, I guess he doesn't want to fight. Okay, well, screw it then. And I felt a little bit dumb for getting off the bike, but at the same time, I'm like, now his girlfriend knows he's a little bitch. I win. So yeah, it's a good time. But happy turnout. His girlfriend probably told him to take her home and drop her off. I don't want to. I don't want to have sex with another girl tonight. Take me home. Goodbye.
Jesus, Randy.
You know what? I've always thought, and it used to be the thing about the Marines is when somebody ever calls you, baby killer or a war, pro or whatever, just look them in the eyes, shake your head, and then look at their girlfriend and wink, because now she knows her boyfriend's a little bitch. And go about your business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, all right,
That's
who
fair.
are we on now? And Nat, you haven't talked enough tonight.
I feel like I've talked more than I normally do, but
No, you've actually talked less. You know
I'm
who hasn't
super
talked at all?
pregnant.
Sid. She's just down there being
Yeah,
quiet.
I was just gonna say, Sid is showing your face is a very rare
I
occasion.
think, yeah.
Cam's on. I feel like it's.
I'm just happy to have her here. I'm happy to have her here. I'm not going to pick on her too much because she's here. We love her, and I don't want to scare her off again. So let's watch her play with the cat. I'm fine.
Everybody be cool. Everybody be cool.
Be cool.
Be cool.
If anybody in the comments got your version of it, just drop it in the comments, and I'm sure we'll talk about it.
Mhm.
I asked that question a little bit ago, and I think we got some pretty similar responses to what we've been talking about. I know Lost in the Road gave an example.
Oh, I have another it. We make friends a lot easier.
I already
Do we,
covered
though?
that one. You must have been
Do
sleeping
we,
when I
though?
said that.
We do.
We do.
We do.
I have.
Yesterday at work, I got shipped out to another area because they were low on manpower, and I was with this new girl. She's like 19, and she was on a process she didn't know how to do, so I basically was sent over there to help her out and do it. And we talked for an entire 2 hours about motorcycles because she said she was interested in riding. I was like, oh, well, you're looking at gear, you're looking at bikes, and we just talked for a whole 2 hours. And then she was like, well, it was really nice to meet you. And I'm like, yeah, let me add you on Facebook real quick. And so
I feel like we get along. Well, we make friends with other bikers well, but I guess my personal experience is like, and maybe it's just because I'm a fucking introvert piece of shit. But like, I don't make friends well for shit. But like, yeah, I make friends with other bikers, but I wouldn't say that I'm good at making friends.
I can
it's
talk to
definitely
a
the
tree.
bikers category, not just friends in general, just friends with other bikers.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
say it's a lot like being in the military. I can walk up to somebody with a military hat on or something in the store and talk to them for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one time I'm talking to some guy, and my daughter is with my wife, and she says, "Does he know him?" And my wife's like, "No, he doesn't know him at all." Or I'm like, "Oh, who was that guy?" I don't know. I've just sat there and talked to him for 30 minutes. He's military. That's all I know. It's the same thing with motorcycles. I can stop at the gas station and talk to somebody that has a motorcycle, or that guy that always walks up to you and goes, "I used to ride."
I used to ride.
Or you have
I
somebody,
used to ride.
I used to have a Harley just like that.
until I took an arrow in the knee. Yeah, that's that guy. We all know that guy.
God, that's an old reference, Randy. Jesus.
Well,
I
if you
haven't
haven't
had one
noticed,
in a minute.
if you haven't noticed, I'm an old fucking guy.
No, I'm just saying it's just like that's
It's also why I go to the gym, because when people call me grandpa on a live stream, I can just remind them I can still do more push-ups than them. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
in me.
You may be able to run more than me. I don't know.
How many can you do like in a row without stopping?
Oh, now I don't know. I'll tell you tomorrow. I get up every morning. I do 25. I go get dressed, do another 25. I could probably, I don't know. I could probably do 50 nonstop, but I'm an old guy. You gotta remember that. 50 is
gonna
still
be
less
30
than my age, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna be 38, but my goal, like, if I don't have time to work out,
So when I was 38, I was still in the Navy, and I was probably doing a regular PRT. I could pump out 85 in 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
2 minute time limit on everything.
Yeah.
Keep practicing. You could probably run more than me now, though. Some of my neck surgery, I'm gone to shit, but I'm gonna get better. I am getting back into running. I just called Sid the other day and told her I actually did real weighted squats, not the little CC bar squats. I actually did real weighted squats the other day, and I felt so good about myself. It was a good time.
What's a sissy bar squat? Is that like
CC bar squat is a CC bar squat is when you hold the weight behind you. Put it behind your legs, and you do the squat. That's a sissy squat.
Oh, I've never done squats like that.
with the
You
leg?
can
with
keep
arms
better
under your
control.
legs?
It's a little harder, but you don't have to worry about losing your balance because you're holding the weight low. Hold the weight behind your legs and squat
If you're
down.
not scraping your shins, you're not doing it right.
It's
Well,
like a reverse like deadlift.
Yeah,
I was
pretty
thinking deadlift actually.
Pretty much.
That's
Well,
weird.
Well, when you broke your neck and you're trying to regain your balance and you can't feel your legs, that's what you have to do
That's
for a
fair.
while.
That's
I
fair.
guess.
So
Yeah, that's strange. I've never heard that exercise before. I
Try it,
thought you
though.
were talking
It's
about
good for
like
it is good for
like
your
a
legs.
squat, like but in the front.
that's
That's
a
hard.
front. That's just a front squat. Yeah, for the longest time,
It's
I was
hard.
worried about. I would go down, and you'd kind of lose the sensation. You kind of forget can't feel where your legs are. It's a weird thing when you break your neck and they have to put it back together. The nerves don't work like they should. Your legs don't feel like they're where they should be, and you have to regain all of those. And I'm sure we've all seen videos of people who had to learn to rewalk again. It's not that they don't have the strength; it's that they don't. Their nerves don't know where their legs are. The strength is there because that same person can sit on a leg press and press the weight. The function and the mobility of it is the weird part. So either way, irregardless, I'm getting back to where I was, and hopefully one day I'll be able to squat as much as Sydney.
What are you at, Sid?
A Buick. Buick working her way up to an F-250.
I'm not sure. I've been taking a break, so I'm not really sure what I'm at right now.
I think in my drawing I put you at 225 with one hand.
Oh no.
So there was 2 plates, I think.
I think there were 245s and then 225s.
245s in the bar. I don't remember. I'd have to look. I'd have to.
Either way,
look
she
for
shamed
sure.
us all.
Back squat or front squat?
One-handed overhead, apparently.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was a great picture. You didn't post it.
It was a great
Oh, I
picture.
saw it. Yeah. That's
Jeez, that's why I asked for a picture of you.
Yeah.
Actually, my favorite one.
Go
My
ahead,
favorite
sorry.
one was Nars, because Nars made me laugh the most. Just think about that picture, like.
It feels like the most whimsical.
The best one was.
Well, it was like. Yes, and it was actually a good. It was actually like it actually kind of looked like him, and it was like had that stoic face in the eyes, but like I was just scrolling up through like the chat, just trying to find a picture of Nar. That was the first one that was. He was sleeping, holding a sandwich, and so I just added on the thought bubble of another sandwich.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
so much fun. I forgot what we were originally talking about. Either way, Sid. So give us one of your its, Sid. What are you better at? Obviously, Sid's better at squatting than everyone else, but that has nothing to do with motorcycles. So
I don't know, man.
kind of does.
I don't know if I'm like the best at squatting. I try.
well, if you have people chasing you and saying, "I want to be like Sid," and I want to be where Sid is, yeah, I'm gonna say yes. You do.
Things that we do better. Oh my gosh.
Oh, bye, Ghost. I didn't even know
justifying
you were
really
here. Forgot to say hi.
questionable purchases.
Sorry.
Don't interrupt
Justifying.
Sid.
Whoa, what?
Don't. Well, I just interrupt Sid, but I said. Don't
I'm
interrupt
sorry.
Sid.
Yeah, Ghost is leaving. I didn't even know she was here, and I had to say goodbye. Because now if I can ask, because I never told her hello.
Okay.
Go ahead, Sid. Sorry.
Justifying really questionable purchases.
Yes.
We did kind of go with that.
We started. I mean, we kind of started there, but I think you worded it better. I like your definition a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or let's see. How did Mortician put it? Because as you guys may have seen, he got a new bike.
He got a CVO.
Yeah.
Ooh,
He
yeah.
spent the big money.
He got the big dog.
He's got that
Big
dead
dog
people
Harley
money.
Davidson.
Yeah.
He's got
Yeah.
dead people money. He can do that.
Yeah. He just
True.
I am financially irresponsible.
He is the Mortician is the big dog in the group. He gets around.
Yeah.
Oh my god, crimes, cat. Crimes.
So I think the one thing that's been missing from this conversation about what bikers do, the bikers do better. I teed up a really, really softball euphemism, and nobody has taken the bait. I pitched it out there, and I thought that this group would do better. Nobody has done it yet.
Try it again. Go ahead.
Nope.
Was
I'm
it
not
in the
doing it.
beginning?
I would like to say we're better at helping people, for sure. Because I think we've talked about this before in some of the streams, but I think bikers, along with that shared agony, we're the ones who will stop and help someone on the side of the road. We're the ones who will take a toy run for a child in need. We're the one who learns a house burned down and we're taking a ride and trying to raise money. That's us. Because I think because of our station in life, I think we've seen a lot of misery. We're closer to probably ground level than a lot of people, and we don't separate ourselves from it. Because like Steve says, we're out there, we're experiencing it. We're in the know. We're in the feeling. We're actually touching everything that happens. So I think that puts you more in touch with people that need help, I think. And if you ever notice, you go to your local, bike shop, there's always a ride for someone who has had a wreck, some child that's going through surgery, that, and I've had a few of those. I've done a few videos on one girl who had the brain damage, and they kept doing surgeries on her at this local, the Shriners Hospital. And there's every time that girl pops up, people are there to take a ride. They're there to buy, and I'm talking they're buying stuff out of the Harley shop, donated shit. They're raising, shit. They're raffling off a sign that's out of somebody's shop that probably costs $50, and they're raising $1,500 from a sign. And there's probably 30 or 40 of those at every event. So we'll do dumb shit. Hell, look at how many bikes we have raised thousands and thousands of dollars for that probably cost $100 to buy. We do shit like that. I've seen people buy more lottery tickets than some of those bikes was worth. Just one person. Look at Flip. Flip spent $5,000 in tickets to buy a bike that was probably worth $700. But that doesn't matter. The point of the matter is you're doing a good thing, and the repercussions never even fall into play.
It's a great point, and I'm glad you brought that up, because that was something I had meant to bring that up. But I have a great example of that, and it's one that was near and dear to all of our hearts. Is like Josh has talked about this before, but with the work that he's done for Forgotten Angels, like those events actually end up netting positive. But a good real world example also from YouTube is the YouTube Creator Clash. It also happened in Florida. They raised more money in theory, but the cost of their events was so high, and they had to pay out people to do a charity event. So to bring a name onto a charity event, they ended up not raising as much. I think, if I may be misquoting, but I want to say he was like, yeah, we ended up raising more than those big name YouTubers. But it's really just like the people in our community, like, you don't have to pay us to be there. We're going to donate. It's kind of in our nature, and we support the causes that we really care about.
Yeah. If I remember that one correctly, what it was is when they did the first Creator Clash, and that was fairly successful from what I remember. They raised some money for that. But then when they did the second Creator Clash, they added a bunch of shit onto it, and it didn't really result in more ticket sales. So when they did the Creator Clash, I think it was iDubbbz went on immediately after and said, we actually lost money on the event. They did. Now, to be fair, if I remember correctly, they did do some funding drives after that, which made it all balance out, and then did turn it into a net positive. So theoretic, sort of off Creator Clash, they ended up raising money. But yeah, when they initially did the second event, they actually lost money off of it. And that was Josh's point. You have all this big organized thing, and we're going to raise money for charity, and yet somehow they ended up losing money. Meanwhile, you have Forgotten Angels. Well, let's just be honest, us, a bunch of freaking wackos, essentially, just doing everything but kind of by the hip. And we've ended up, they raising how much for Forgotten Angels? I mean, nobody probably knows the true number, but
Ass load of money. At least $2.5 million. At least.
Yeah,
right.
This last raffle closed at just over 602,000, and that's one raffle. That did go like almost to the year, but I mean that's a hell of an amount to raise.
Yeah. And is anybody involved in this really like, a professional fundraiser? Is anybody really that big of a YouTuber? Is anybody, really that have that much resource? No, it's a bunch of goobers, essentially, when you get down to it. But look at what's being accomplished.
And it's actual tangible things. I mean, I can't tell you, we probably a lot have one example of some charity that has taken in millions and millions of dollars, and if you look at where the money goes, nobody can tell you.
Yeah.
Like USA for Africa was a perfect example. Band-Aid, perfect example. Live Aid, perfect example. They literally, by the time when people found out about that little bitty place in Ethiopia that they were raising money for, there were less than 1,000 people in that village. Ethiopia is a thriving community that I would put on the same level as New York City. This tribe they picked out to raise, I'm talking millions and millions of dollars for, had less than 1,000 people in it. And they raised something like $500 million. Where did that money go? Yeah. And those people
Someone went back into the Civil War.
Those people are still living in a tent city 10 miles outside of Ethiopia proper. Mm-hmm. That money went nowhere. And we've all seen the South Park episode where they have the Children's Fund Network that Sally Field, was always raising food for. If anybody from the 80s and 90s remembers the Sally Field, they're raising money for UNICEF. And they made a joke about it where they went to this village and they're all still starving to death. And there's all these buildings when they go into them. Sally feels eating cheesy poofs and pot pies inside a building. She's eating all the food.
Oh yeah.
Snacky cakes, I think it
Jackie
was.
cakes, yeah, and cheesy
Yep.
poofs. But it's like, where does the money go? Well, you look at Forgotten Angels. We've got that camp out that we can see every time we go. They've got the new compound that's up in Seattle, and they're trying to raise one up in Atlanta or Alabama somewhere. You can see where that money's going. So I have no problem with, you know, supporting those guys. This last raffle was a little weird, but you know what? I wasn't planning on winning anyway. The money's going to a good place, so
Mm-hmm.
win-win.
I don't think any of us would have complained if we won, but you know,
Well, I
you
wouldn't
know.
complain.
reason.
You know what? I still want the dung beetle, but I guess it ain't up for auction anymore. So, oh well.
I bet if he still got it. Oh no, that he said he was gonna keep that one, right?
He was gonna raffle it off, and they kept having so many problems with it. He's like, I'm not giving this bike away.
I bet you if you throw a number at him, he'll sell it to you.
Yeah,
to you only though, not anybody else.
Well, he takes obviously we've seen where he's actually taken bikes back and giving people the money for them because the one dude came to get the bike and it wouldn't run, and then they had to go get him and brought it back and they fixed it, put him on the road again. And he broke down again. I'm pretty sure they bought that bike back and said, here's some money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've
That's
had, well,
tough.
I've got at least 3 examples where people said, I don't want the prize, I'll raffle it off or sell it and just put the money back into the organization.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is one organization I can tell you that people, if they don't win, they're fine with it. And then if they do win it with it, they're like, well, I wasn't planning on doing anything with it anyway, so just sell it. The one, remember the one, what was it, the raindrop or the rain bike?
Yeah, the acid
She
trip.
She immediately just said, just sell it.
I don't
Oh,
know-
come
I
on
don't know what
down
he
and
ended up
take a
doing with
ride.
it.
She's like, just sell it.
I bet he's got it in storage still. We might guess.
And then, Mortal Mortician. He won the Humpy and just said, just sell it.
I do think they probably just sold that one though, to be
He
honest.
did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, he never said how much, but he's like, yeah, I got the money from it.
but I'm sure look how much money he gives though. Look how much he donates. He probably donated all that money
Yeah,
right
he-
back.
I mean, like, he's insane when it comes to donating to anything. So,
Oh, I could probably name 10 guys that I know probably gave more than $5,000 a piece, and they bought tickets and shit, and don't even care if they win or not.
mm-hmm.
The wet spot, that was it. The wet spot. That was the bike.
That's true. I think it had a couple names though, because that was
Yeah, a
the
lot
one
of
that-
names.
It had the really like the guy was literally on acid when he
Yeah.
did the bike. So that's why I thought of that. But yeah, it was blue flames.
Mm.
We'll go on
Yeah,
that.
it was more
Yeah,
like,
we closed them off and they turned into like globules, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it looked like a lava lamp. I actually kind of dug it.
Yeah.
I thought it was
yeah.
cool. There's probably been, I probably would have, any of the bikes in the past, except for probably 3, I would have said, yeah, just sell them right back and let the organization keep them. There have been a few of them. The FXRs, I would have said, I want that bike. And then last shovelhead, I would have wanted that. I would have took. I would have given a big donation afterwards, but I would take that bike. Even this one, I would say if I win the $250,000, I'm probably gonna go up to Ohio, buy a bike from Nicole, drive it down to Forgotten Angels, and let them raffle it off.
That'd be cool.
What would be a better? And I'll make some videos from it. Win-win. Everybody wins.
Yeah.
Which is a great idea.
Yeah, write that one down in case you happen to win some money.
That's a really good idea.
Maybe that if I win or not. Maybe next year, raise a little money, get $1,000, get a bike, fix it up, drive it down there.
We've, funny you mentioned that. I know Aaron and I think Chase and I were talking about that over in Chase's Discord once. Like,
Yeah.
if we could find, if we could find something that was reasonably priced and like actually a decent running motorcycle and not just somebody's torn apart project, that's
Yeah.
something as a group. Like, why wouldn't we do that?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, I think
donate
That
to
would
FA.
that'd be a cool challenge. We'll all find a bike, and obviously we don't want a piece of junk that we have to work on for 5 months to make it work. Find a nice bike, get it running, get it in good running condition. We'll all ride them down there, and we'll have some kind of challenge to see if obviously we want us all to make it down there.
Yeah.
And when we get down there and see who can raffle off the bike to raise the most money.
Could be good.
It'd be excellent.
Yeah, unfortunately, like you said, it's kind of hard sometimes to find a decent project that's not a basket case.
Well, we don't get a project.
Oh yeah, well,
Hands down.
Mhm.
There's way
Yeah.
too many of them.
yeah, you don't want to get a project. That's for sure.
There's right now,
Let's
that's a
come
big
up
thing,
with
and there's a lot of them in Memphis that are like, yeah, I got it not running. You need a tow truck to come get it.
No
And,
title.
Yeah.
And
Or-
but again, even some of those people just don't know what they have. They don't know crap about motorcycles. Don't know crap about carburetors. They just want it out of their garage, and I've seen that a million times.
Yeah, favorite one I see all the time in Ohio is, I'll give you a bill of sale. I don't have a title though.
No, I don't touch those.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Especially not around
Don't bring
Memphis.
it for it.
I had a guy try to tell me a bike that he had was a a track only bike, and I'm like, it's still got all the reflectors on it. You still got the turn signals on it. There's no tie wire. That's not a race bike. Nope, that's a track only bike. And I'm like, no, it's not.
Sure.
Track only
No,
because
it's
you
not.
don't have a title.
Yeah. And again, the funny thing is, like I think we were talking about it. Bikes and Beards bought a motorcycle when they went to they ran the numbers on it. It was a stolen bike, so he tried to give the bike back, and they're like, "Oh no, the insurance already paid it off. It's your bike now."
Mhm.
And he got it retitled and he sold it. And he felt really weird about it, but he's like, "I know this is a stolen bike, and if it was mine, I'd want it back." But once the insurance pays it out, they don't want it. And they'll let you auction it right back off. They probably wanted to know who he bought it from, but
Yeah, probably some of that investigation in that. But
yeah, but once they pay it off, they can't take it back. It's not their property anymore.
yeah.
All right, what else
Anywho.
we got on here?
I don't know. I feel like we've exhausted it. We've put a lot of good points down on what bikers do better. I think we've really
The only thing-
we've nailed it. What else you got?
No, upset.
Finding improvised weapons.
True story.
Well, yes.
True story. It's funny to watch people who ride bikes a lot, and I'm gonna corner Sydney up on this one. Anybody that spends a lot of time on a motorcycle is carrying a knife in the open, out front. I think that helps you avoid a lot of problems. Having a fanny pack,
I'm not opposed to it, but I
People-
think I don't.
people avoid you when you bring a fanny pack on a motorcycle because they have no clue what you have inside it.
Yeah.
People will not give you shit. Just saying. And I have a fanny pack with a knife on it, and people treat me with much respect when I stop at gas stations. Nobody gives me shit. And I'm a crazy tattooed guy on a motorcycle, so
I'm still trying to find a left-handed shield for the Smith & Wesson.
There's a website that I buy a lot of my traditional muzzleloader gear from. Like, they specialize in like side locks and front locks and that sort of thing. They also generally have a very fine selection of authentic like frontier style belt axes. I think I want to get me one of those because not only would that just be cool, but that would be very good for camping as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Fracking Wolf, if anybody's interested.
Gma ducked out, so good night, Gma. We love you.
Yep.
I think he wants an original sheath for it, which it's a Cordura sheath with a hard plastic spine. So they're not hard to find, but you've got to find.
I hear a safe.
Yeah. There's a guy there.
Yes, it is.
Getting it out so you can show it.
I did like that knife. That's a very practical knife. It's long enough to do some reach damage, but short enough to manipulate. Yeah, it was a very nice knife.
Yeah, I mean, like there's a million sheaths out there that you can buy that's left-handed, or you can make left-handed. And I mean, shit, I have so much leather in this warehouse that I can make my own, but I want the actual OEM. If there actually is a left-handed one.
Well, that has a sharpener in the sheath too, so it's got on the blade side, it's got 2 ceramic stones in it, and that's why it stays sharp all the time.
Oh. Interesting. I was just using a sharpening stone.
That's a serious business knife.
I'm a serious man.
You're a serious businessman. Serious business knife for a serious businessman.
Well, so Yankee just said having a small axe. So this has a sheath which broke because I sharpened it, and it was just regular polyester, and so when I carried it on my side, it just sliced right through it. So I need to make a better one. But when I was cleaning out our new warehouse, in the middle of the day, sometimes in the night, at night, people just who I didn't know would just walk past the threshold of an open garage into my warehouse that I don't know. If normal people, they'll stay at the threshold even if it's an open door, and they'll wave until they get my attention. And if someone is just approaching me and I'm alone in my warehouse, I don't know you, man. Don't come up to me like that. It's not a bad area, but it's still an area that
It's still California.
I'd rather not find out. Yeah.
It's still California and not far from LA, so danger zone.
Yeah. Well, it's below. It's below Highway 66, so you kind of want to anything below that is, if you go to the north or on the north side, it's a little bit more safe, but anything below that, at least in Southern California, maybe have your escape route.
Yep. I'll admit fully. I also
Sorry.
Somebody take your lunch money. I want it back.
Satan took my lunch money in LA.
It said buffering, and I was like, "Why is it buffering?" Oh, it's buffering because it's trying to play. Got it. Sorry, I wrecked the mood. Go ahead.
I don't even remember what. Oh, I think I just want the whole belt axe thing because I think as a kid my dad brainwashed me by having me sit in our hunting cabin and watching Last of the Mohicans probably about 100 times. So I think it just kind of wormed its way in there, and now that's how I see things.
Yeah, I mean, I feel weird carrying it. And so I actually switched to this because at least it kind of technically serves some practical use. I can chop things if I need to, whereas this has a very specific use.
Chopping necks.
And it's I'm not going to cut open cardboard boxes with this. Really has only one use. I could, but I have box cutters and I have an axe that I bought at Harbor Freight. It's a little, but I still want the left-handed version of this. I'll just carry them both, and I'll have one in one hand and then one in the other hand, and then
dual wielding.
Exactly.
I was just about to say.
Yeah, I think that was Rainey's picture. he's got
dual
both.
Yeah, machete. Yeah. I have.
Rainey,
go ahead.
I mean this with all the love in my heart, but when I saw that picture, the thing that I could think of only was Mall Ninja Charlie Brown.
It's the head. It's the head. Yeah.
It kind of is. I'm sorry.
So when I was overseas, I had a knife called the Urban Destroyer. I had to bring it on one night. It's actually the blade itself is about 14 inches long, and I would put that one on the front of my IBA, and then I would put that one that Steve has. That would be on my belt, because the thing in Iraq when you're running checkpoints, they respect a big knife, and so when you're talking to someone and you have them in the kill box, they're staring at the one on my chest, which is absolutely has no practical purpose. It's way too big. The thing probably weighs 1.5 pounds. But the small one's one I would actually use if I had to use it. But the big one is the one that they're looking at because that's the one that makes them nervous. Because in their mind, it's like measuring dicks. That's what they're looking at because, oh my God, yours is much bigger than mine. But it's a psychological game.
Yeah. I've heard that before too, like that in the Middle East, it's a blade-centric culture in that
Yes.
sense, and that's a sign, that's a symbol of respect, essentially.
I have to grab this real quick. Keep talking. Now I have to show it to you.
Uh,
Okay. Dry heat
We've really
dog,
gone on a tangent.
Dry heat dog just brought up
Yeah,
a
now we're talking
very
about the knives that we're holding, and we carry them with us while we ride.
Edged weapons.
I don't know if that's one of the things that we're better at, but yeah, I don't know. I do like Sid's point.
Juice, what did Dry Heat Dog say?
Oh, it was gonna be off topic. It's fine. I'm gonna let it go.
Yeah.
I know one more benign thing bikers seem to be better at.
What's that?
Food.
I was thinking that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was thinking that because
Either riding to food or making food, but there seems to be a pattern.
Yeah, we've come up with a theory. Every time we go by a restaurant we've never tried before, if there's a bunch of motorcycles out there, we have to go try it.
Very good sign. Yep.
Yeah. There's one guy that I used to, or I've seen a video of. He's like, if you see motorcycle parking or a lot of bikes out front, they either got a lot of good cold beer or they got some really good food, or both if you're lucky.
Yep, there you go.
Because we all know what we'll go do.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We'll ride 200 miles for tacos.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
I got one of my favorite rides to go through the mountains, like up towards the north, through like Franconia, Notch, on the Connecticut River, all that, and I go all that way for beer and pizza.
Man, we did a 4-hour round trip motorcycle ride up the East Coast just to go to New London, Connecticut, in order to get lobster rolls.
I would go
Sounds like
that
a
far
good
for a
time.
lobster.
Yeah.
Go farther. Sorry.
Okay, we're all gonna go to Mad Yankees.
Come with me to Shea Vashon.
Oh, come with me now.
Come to my
Yeah,
freaking
there's
house.
David
There's a
Bond.
lobster dock across the bay.
No,
We go over there.
next time I go up, we need to go to Shea Vashon. It's a,
We do.
Yeah, I
Yep.
think I linked you the spot, but
I think you and I talked about, was that the poutine place?
that is the poutine place.
Oh,
Yes.
you know, man.
Yes. Now that is a thing.
Yeah.
Devin's struggling so much.
I'm not struggling.
You're
I was
trying to stay awake?
trying to move out of the way.
So this is the Urban
Yep.
Destroyer. You know how big my head is, so let's do by comparison.
It's,
Ted
and
Nugent
it's-
edition, I see.
yeah, and it's camouflage.
Absolutely unpractical. And this is my normal carrying knife. So
There you go.
comparatively, that much bigger.
No, it's yeah.
So yeah, but that's what gets respect. This much more practical and much more deadly, but they look at it like, okay, fine.
That's more respectable to me, though.
This is a very thick, utilitarian, like we were talking about earlier. When you're on a motorcycle, everything you carry has to have a purpose, not just for show. Not like an Advan fairing. It actually has to do something. So
You're really on about that.
well, like I told someone, I can't say too much, but Sydney has one too now, so and she's practical, so maybe I have to back off of it. But the whole new Lowrider ST thing is like that's the new Dynabro bike, because now everybody wants one.
It is.
It's the new old Dynabro bike, because it's what the Dynabros came up with on their own, and then Harley, like any motorcycle company, goes, yeah, that's what the custom people are building. Why don't we just sell one?
Yeah,
Well,
let's make money off of it.
And they're not alone.
There's kind of like two different tracks that the Dynabros have went. You either stayed on the Softail platform and went to Lowrider ST, or you became a true bagger bro. You're rocking a fucking road glide.
Yeah.
I love the Dyna, but I'm still gonna make fun of them because I can.
Oh, I make fun of everybody. It's motorcycles like everything else. If you're
Something else.
it's either
making fun of
humor.
everybody.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like that video I sent you guys, a couple of you guys earlier.
Stop
I mean,
kicking
I was-
yourself in the face. Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
No, I
Keep
was
that
gonna give Rainy shit for buying the Sportster. the 2021. I bought it because I knew it was the last year.
I did not know
And
it was last year until a week later.
yeah, and
Just like
so that's
like my
why I
victory
got
gunner.
it, because for posterity, and then I
Ooh.
customized it, and I used the boots or the leather that I make the boots with to, create a finely upholstered seat. Added a bunch of shit, and I did not a rattle can spray paint job on the tank, but it's a very, very good looking bike. That's why I like it. But I'm also, not as big as you, and so it makes at least a little bit more sense to have a 1200.
I love that bike. That's tons of power.
Oh no, yeah, it does.
I think I saw. See, you've heard artists talk about they can look at a piece of granite and they can see what's under it. They can see the shape it is. When I saw that bike, I was actually looking at a Dyna. Don't tell anybody. And when I was looking at it, it had an oil leak, and it had a weird aftermarket exhaust on it. And I was like, and they wanted like 11,000 for it, and I was like, I don't know. And my wife's like, well, just the Sportster is the same price, looks almost the same, and it's brand new. It has a
It
warranty.
is. It's almost exactly the same.
Yeah. So I
That's
was
the most
like,
generic.
well, when I
Sorry.
looked at it, I thought I could see what I could do with it. I saw the potential of the bike and all the things I could do with it. And literally, I started looking at the first thing I always look at it for on a bike is where the drain holes are, where the fill holes are, any accessory holes. If I want to put something else on it, where can I move foot pegs to? How easy it is to move the foot pegs. And I was like, I literally, by the time I got the bike and rode it, I was like, I can do so much with this bike. I can do so much with this bike. It can go places, That's even before I knew you could get a 5-gallon tank for it. I was like, I can do things with this bike. And it took off from there. Love that.
That is
bike,
one
man.
thing I wish I would have done, is swapped out the tank before I painted it.
You can get that
Because
one.
I'm not.
I'm gonna
that
paint
paint
mine
job
again.
is-
I'm gonna paint mine again. That was a practice paint job. I just thought maybe see what it looked like. If I would have thought I was just gonna keep it that color, I would have probably tried to do a better job on it. But I used instead of a primer coat, I would have primered it and then used a separate color coat and then shellacked over the top of it. But I was like, oh, let's just see how this color looks, because it's a combination primer base coat. But next time, yes, Sid.
Oh God. Okay. So I was
You in the
wondering,
back.
how do people feel about the whole, what is it, billiard gray? The billiard gray for Harley now.
The primer,
I
guy.
say,
The clear coated primer.
I think it's interesting that like the black is now an add-on.
Yeah, it's an extra $300 depending on the model.
Yeah.
Well, because they don't have to put a separate coat on it. You just leave the primer on, then put a shellac over the top of it,
Yeah,
and it's
put the
done.
clear on it.
And again, because that's Harley's thing. We're going to give you the basic thing that we have to give you because we know you're going to change it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So if we give you a bike that's already primered, you're going to paint it. That's all I have to say about that. It's a pretty color. I like blue better. You know how I like about blue.
Have you seen the new burst blue, Rainy?
I did. They
That's
have one up at the
pretty.
shop. God, that's so gorgeous. And it's almost the same color as my bike now. And it has like
Yeah,
black
maybe
accent.
very
Yeah,
similar.
it's fucking gorgeous. Who just bought one? Somebody just bought one.
Not sure.
Somebody in the Discord just bought one. He spent a shitload of money on it too. I'll have to look later. Was it Motor Mortician? No.
No, he got the new CVO. So, which is great.
Yeah, like silvery gray kind of deal.
Yeah. Which those
So
do look great too. So.
Am I the only weird one who likes the Alpine green on the new Heritage?
Alpine green.
I want to see.
I love green.
Let's see.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for green, as you guys can probably tell. But
No, I want to see that one in person because online it looks ugly. I've seen some better pictures from a local dealer here in Ohio, and it looks better.
Oh, I would rock that. That's a great color.
yeah, I know. I'm looking at it actually right now on the website, and I can dig it. But yeah, you got to see it in the paint. That's true of any motorcycle.
Yeah, because it does look better from pictures I've seen. It does look better than what the website shows. So, and then there's the new Onyx White Pearl,
I like
if I
that
remember
one a
correctly.
lot.
So that one comes on the Road King special for sure, and then breaking out in a couple others. But yeah, there's
It's a lot prettier than that white sand pearl. Just saying.
Yeah, much better than the white sand pearl.
yeah.
Yeah, screw that color. Just saying.
Yeah.
Funny story, the place I used to work at. So I worked at a brewery, and they make twisted tea. And they have a downtown warehouse where they just store the trucks ready to ship that are full, that aren't ready to actually leave the city yet. And one of the truck drivers and the security guards got together and let somebody in and stole a truckload full of twisted tea. And they caught them shortly after, but they stole an entire truckload of twisted tea. What they're gonna do with it, who the fuck knew? But it
Was
was
this guy's name
Take
Jerry?
Jerry.
I was going to say, Jerry live in Georgia. I was literally about to say, I do know one person in our chat right now who
Like,
makes
that's
twisted tea better with motorcycles.
Is
So.
he a truck- is he a
Drink
truck
a
driver?
truckload of it
But it
too.
was-
Before
yeah,
it goes
but-
bad.
They let one of their truck drivers in, their friends with a truck, backed up to it, hooked up to it, and they drug it out. It made national news. That's why I thought it was so funny, because
That's
the
badass.
brewery I worked at was so dumb. But they did it somewhere else I think in Alabama. They stole so the place that supplies alcohol for the blended brews that we don't make ourselves, they literally send 80% grain alcohol to us in a tanker truck. And somewhere in Alabama, they stole the entire tanker truck full of grain alcohol. And I'm like, where the hell are they going with
God.
that?
God bless
They're
Alabama.
going straight to a college with that. Yeah, they're going straight to Bama with that. Yeah, Alabama State is going to be melted off the map. They're going to have
Double
one
juice.
hell of a tailgate party.
Yeah.
Well, Juice, do you recall when we were at the distillery and we saw the big tanker truck that said Old Number 7 on the side of it go by? And you and I just kind of looked at each other and went,
You're like,
Mad Max?
yep.
Hi, Max.
Like that. Certainly, that can't be full of whiskey, right? Oh, but
Well, they had their big bottling facilities on the other side of town, so yeah, could have been.
Yeah, you very well could have.
Yeah, Dry Heat Doug says, Jerry, what's this trailer you parked behind my house? Jerry, is that what you need bail? All right, let's go ahead and go to final thoughts. Juice.
oh man, I knew you were gonna pick me first.
Because you're to my clock.
I know.
You're my
I know.
number
It
one.
makes sense. It makes sense. Final thoughts. Bikers do it better.
Yes.
I was just waiting to see if you guys would say it.
Next.
No,
Go ahead.
no, I don't know. I think we covered a lot of the good topics, except for nobody said sex. I thought it was gonna come up. Nobody made the fucking joke, and I teed it up.
That's a great point. Jesus, how did we
That
miss
goes
that?
without saying.
I teed it up. The whole topic was gonna be just this big, dumb joke.
That goes without saying. I mean, we're on a prostate massager for what, 15 hours to get to Forgotten Angels? So, yeah.
Yeah. Anywho, those are my thoughts. Next.
That's why you got me scared.
Devin.
Um,
Hey, well, hang on. It's Devon, right?
no,
You sure?
no, it's not Owen.
I saw that and I was like, have I been spelling it wrong this whole time?
Yeah, no, I get that. What's funny is that there's times that people spell my first name wrong more than my last name. Probably because they're
Ow.
actually looking at my last name. They're spelling it, but
Oh, speaking of which, Annette, I have sent probably 3 or 4 messages to your makeup account on Instagram before I realized you weren't using it anymore. And the last entry to it was like 2017.
Oh yeah, no,
yeah,
that was a long time ago.
Yeah, you have messages on there, by the way. BT dubs.
Oh, okay. I probably won't go look at them, but
Just delete them because they're from last year.
Jeez.
I was like, why is she not answering me? We must not be friends anymore. She was serious when she said she wasn't my friend. Oh my god.
She said she liked me.
it was all a lie.
You bought me bacon.
She said
I
I'm
thought we were
special.
friends. All right, Devin, go ahead.
Yeah, so obviously there's lots of things we do better. I mean, as Ju said before, we're kind of biased, so take it for what you want. But yeah, just have fun, live life.
Annette, the makeup lady.
First of all, it wasn't makeup. There was no makeup involved. It was just skincare. That was it. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
Fair point. Fair point.
But yeah, no, my final thought is, you know, just because we're biased, we should try to strive to prove that what we think is actually true. So, you know, we're better at being with the situational awareness thing. We're better at, you know.
Humility.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, that kind of wraps up my thoughts. Just to prove to everyone why bikers do it better.
Thanks for sharing. Next alcoholic up, Sid.
It's water. I'm lame. It's water.
It's
You
a dark
light it
and
on
fucked
fire?
up.
Well, first off, bikers do it better because we know how to ride. Second,
Hey.
Sometimes we hang on with one hand, sometimes we hang on with no hands.
it's yeah, yeah. Yeah. I don't know what to say. It's been a long day.
Modest as always, Sid.
Mm-hmm.
Love you, Sid. Thanks for coming on. Glad you made it.
Yeah.
Are you gonna stick around for the after show?
Yeah,
So-
I think I will.
Cool.
All right, Steve, you're up.
I've spoken my piece, and everything I said was pretty true. The situational awareness and just being in the moment, mindfulness, can translate a lot into the rest of your life. And so that, for me, like I said again, like I don't have room in my head for other things when I'm on a bike, especially if I'm in the places that has like hairpin turns and cars that like to ride the same routes and speed really, really quickly and hug those turns. So I don't have room in my head to think about anything else. So it's a good way to be very in the present, and that's a good trait that a lot of people strive for. So in that sense, yeah, that's how we do it better.
Sweet on. Yankee.
Well, one theme that I'm picking up on everybody's comments tonight is that all these little things we do and that we say bikes make better, it's all little pieces of enjoying life. And that's the idea, right? But isn't it kind of funny when you think about it? Because, I said that, yeah, the bike makes it all better. But one of the things that, I like, about the bikes is that kind of element of risk. So isn't it one of life's sweet little ironies that in order to get the most out of life, you have to gamble with it a little bit?
It's almost like the art of risk.
Shameless plug.
That sounds like a
Yep.
branding thing.
Bring it up.
Yeah, that sounds good. It's like it has legs.
You should use that on something. Yeah.
Yeah, like
But,
all my gear and boxes and shit.
But like seriously, it's like you gotta kind of sometimes going closer to the edge of life, maybe in a way, is maybe what makes you appreciate all these things that we have and all these things that we can do. And I suppose that would be my ending message: is that life, like I always say, it's short, it's precious. We don't really get a lot of it when you think about it in the grand scheme of things. Very, very, very short. A lot of the things that are around us have been here a lot longer than we have and will continue to be so. So that little bit of life that you do have, you gotta try to get the most out of it because it's all you got.
Absolutely agree. I've heard many a times at the end of your life, you're going to regret the things that you didn't do, not so much the things you did do.
Mm-hmm.
So, so my closing thought is, but again, always be kind. But I think the thing that the bikers do better at is compassion. Because again, we're the ones that will stop for someone on the side of the road. We're the ones that will donate the most money. We're the ones that will go out in the cold just to say we did to help out to raise money, and call it some crazy ride in the cold or the zero below cold or whatever, the zero below ride. But it's to raise money because we want to help people. So I think bikers do life better, period. Because just like Yankee was saying, we enjoy it more because we want to experience things. We don't want to be bottled up and safe in a cage. We want to get out there and risk it. Not risk it all, but if you're not risking life, what do you know what you're capable of? How do you know what you're capable of?
Yeah, a lot of people, I think I've said this before, but their trajectory of life as you're a kid is you try a lot of hobbies, you do things. At a certain point, you decide, I don't feel like doing this anymore. And then you flatten out, and then here's death. And if someone offered me a bid for this company at a certain amount, I would say no, because I mean, there are certain amounts I would definitely say yes to, but I don't want to know how high it can get. I don't know how far I can get, and I don't know what I can accomplish. And that's not just the company, but that applies to lots of other things. So it's once you stop that kind of childhood whimsy, if you want to call it that, it's kind of when you die.
Yep.
So
you don't slow down when you get old. You get old because you slow down.
Yeah.
I'm living proof. Watch me. And with that, we're going to play some cool music and close this show. Thanks everyone for coming out tonight. It's been a blast, and hopefully you'll be with us next time. Thanks everyone for coming out. See ya.